my Ranger roll and how it saved my butt. Welcome back to 1822 MC Adventures and More. This is my channel. My name is Pete, and today's subject is how my Ranger roll saved my bacon when I was up there in the Highlands. You know, sometimes you get it right the first time, and whatever it is you've invented never needs to be improved, ever, because you got it right the first time, and that would be a Ranger roll. So let's sit down and I will explain my Ranger roll to you, and my Ranger roll is fixing to be a dual-purpose Ranger. Stay tuned. So right now my Ranger roll is tucked up into the compression sack that my River Country Products sleeping bag came in, and my Ranger roll literally saved my bacon up there in the Highlands. So for those of you that have been following the channel, you know I recently was up in the Ferguson area at the High Country motorcycle camp, and I basically was staying in my hammock, and I just had the poncho liner underquilt up there because it only got down to about, oh, I don't know, I think the coldest night was 56 degrees, and worked out quite well with that as an underquilt, and then I just had a blanket over the top of me. I had this as my underquilt, like I said, and then I had a Ranger roll on top of me. And I learned a very valuable lesson. Just because you buy something nice doesn't mean it's good. Alright? And what do I mean by that? My other tarp, this is my River Country Products tarp. It's kind of a permanent fixture out here these days in Studio A. But the tarp that I take out into the woods, the one that came with this hammock here, I took it for granted that it was a decent tarp. So all I did is I took it outside and I sprayed it with waterproofing spray. I did not seam the seals like I should have. So my second night up there, it starts raining. So I get up under the tarp and I go to relax, and I stretch out in the hammock, and I've got my Ranger roll unbuckled and laying over the top of me. And all of a sudden, it's like a boink, boink. And I'm like, what the hell? I move around a little bit, and it's like boink, boink. I'm like, son of a bitch, I got a leak. Right there at a seam, I had a very, very slow leak. It was like, I don't know, it was enough to piss you off, I know that. So what I did was I simply got comfortable, and I took my Ranger roll and I just put it over my head and went to sleep. Problem solved for the night. And so with that being said, let me show you my Ranger roll. And before I go any further now, I could compress this to about half the size of what it is right now, but the only time I do that is when I'm actually using it. Alright guys, and what this consists of is a River Country Products poncho. They're like $9.98, $9.99, $9.95, I forget without looking it up. And they're a great poncho. I forget the exact dimensions. I will put that in about right here when I'm editing. But what this is, I believe it's the same material that they make their tents out of. That's what it feels like to me. And I like it as a poncho because the back of the poncho is a little bit longer than the front of the poncho, and that's nice. And it's a long poncho to start with because it was designed as a backpacker's poncho. But as you know, military surplus ponchos, whether they're used or unused, are absolutely ridiculous in price. And of course you can buy the imitations and they're no cheaper. Why would you even want to do that? They never fit right anyways. They're either too big or too small. So what I did was I took this thing here, and here on, this is the top of it, by the way. I put some grommets in it so I could actually tie the poncho liner inside of it, right? And I also have one here in the middle held with a toggle so it doesn't flip-flop around while you're in it. So we have this right here, and then about in the middle I put another set of grommets and ties. I have a snap. Go a little further down, got another snap. get to the bottom of it, and I just got the grommets, but I have a couple of snaps in the very, very bottom. Probably what I need to do next time around that I feel like working on this is I will fold this over and I'll put another set of snaps in it so I can fold my foot box up and over as needed. I did use this in my tent one night, and that was probably my only complaint, was I really probably should have put in another set of snaps just to fold the foot box over. Alright? But so here you got your old Marine Corps style poncho liner, and I have a poncho. And these will keep you quite warm, and in the event that it gets a little bit colder, I would consider snuggling up with another poncho liner. If it gets any colder than that, you need a fucking sleeping bag. Smarten up, right? But what I'm going to be doing here is, because I'm planning on, as you know, I got some stealth camping coming up. What I want to do with my Ranger roll is I want to use it as an underquilt, because I'm thinking between the poncho liner and the poncho, that should keep me quite warm, because we all know that a poncho liner will keep you warm down to anywhere from 60 to 50, I guess, depending on how you sleep. And then I'll have my poncho here as a windbreak and another layer. So I think I should be good down to at least 50 degrees, guys. So give me a second here. Let me string this up. Oh, and before I digress, let me show you how I'm going to do this. I have some of these bungee balls. I have some cordage. And I have some pecans. Now I'm going to get busy and put this up. Alrighty guys, a quick update on the Ranger roll as an underquilt. It was a failure. Good idea, but a failure. And let me tell you why. Alright, my shock cord is completely shocked out. So there was no give in the way that I was doing it. So the idea was good, but the shock cord wouldn't allow it to work. So then I came up with a much better idea, pretty much like what a lot of other people do. Let me show you what I'm doing here. This is the crude backyard version. I will be showing you a new and improved version of this very soon. What I'm doing is I'll be replacing the shock cord, and then I'll be putting grommets about every 6 inches down the sleeping bag, right? So like I said, we'll have grommets every 6 inches. I'll be doing the same thing to the Ranger roll. I'll lay it out and I'll put grommets every 6 inches. So then I'll be able to string it up like this long ways. Then I'll also take grommets and put them every 6 inches across the width. I'll put a piece of shock cord in there, and I'll be able to adjust my foot box. And up here on the head, I'll do the same thing, and I'll be able to adjust my shoulder and head area like that. So then I'll be able to use this. This is a 45-degree sleeping bag. I'm pretty much going to retire it, because I'm sure that my Ranger roll setup will work down to at least 50 degrees. And if I double up the poncho liners, use this one and the one that's in the Ranger roll, I'm very curious as to just how warm that will keep me. So with 2 poncho liners and a poncho acting as the windbreaker, I believe I'll have a pretty decent underquilt. And I'll have it on some new shock cord that'll stretch. Like I said, the grommets will be every 6 inches, so it'll stay up nice and tight. And then when I get in there, it'll stretch on out and wrap around me. Should keep me nice and warm, because what I have been doing here at the house with some of my experimenting, I found that there's another version of this sleeping bag, and it is like 3 inches longer and 2 or 4 inches wider, which is awesome. And it's rated for, it was rated for 30 degrees. So that might actually be my next cheapest way to do an underquilt, is just to buy a little bit warmer sleeping bag, rig it up the exact same way. But so my Ranger roll as an underquilt is a temporary failure, but the only way that you'll ever succeed is to keep trying, because you're never a failure till you fail to get back up. So with that being said, let me see if I can't take this word salad and put it into a watchable video. For those of you that stick it out for the whole video, I really do appreciate it. I certainly do. And for the rest of you, well, you're not going to hear this anyway, so fucking watch. Sorry, I can't keep your attention for 5 to 30 minutes. I'll stop. That's enough. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on the next one. We'll be camping soon, I promise.